economy will shrink in the course of 2023. And then weren't that different compared
with
to many
measurable
others when it comes
benefits
to the
over
inflation,
time.
because inflation is just...
But restoring price stability when inflation is high can require measures that are not popular in the short term as we raise interest rates.
For Crystal, and today is Tuesday, January 31st, 2023. And these are our views on what we're seeing here in Stockholm, Sweden, Scandinavia. These are our views, and of course, for any advice in the market, you should speak to your own broker and get your strategy from them. But what we're looking at today is in Sweden, we have still a continued focus on what's going to happen with the banks, and we've had a lot of banks reporting in Sweden, but we're focused on the central banks and what they're going to be doing with interest rates. So the costs in general are through the roof. We've had very high inflation. That's been tied largely towards our electricity prices, our all of our energy prices for diesel and gasoline as well. And then food costs have been up dramatically. We've seen the housing prices had been up, and now they've been dropping, and they've dropped significantly, but some are trying to call the bottom to the market. And so the question is, will the RiksBank be able to raise at a 25 basis point? Would they have to go 50? And the question is, how deep of a recession will we go into? Will we encounter things like stagflation? And what's happening with the rest of the world? What's the GDP going to be? So when we see the IMF, they've come out today and they've said that the global economy will grow in 2023. It's going to grow marginally, but they're looking at something like 2.8 for the global, 2.9. I believe was the figure for 2023 was 2.9, and that's with China growing at I think a 5.3, and that's if they stay open and not locked down. And there is some speculation that they would stay open because the Chinese population was getting a little restless, and so Xi wants to stay in power. So he would like to see that turn into a problem. And so then we had the European economy, the GDP, which grew at spot 5 for the fourth quarter. So, which is to me a little bit surprising. I'm a little surprised when you see countries like Germany, which have contracted and or had very small growth, and then Sweden, we had very small growth. So yeah, Germany having small growth, Sweden having small growth. But that's the large part of the growth for Europe was Germany. Of course, looking at Spain and Italy and France, but in general, the European economy had not been doing so well. So the small growth may lead to enough where the central banks don't have to hike a lot, but only have to hike by 25 basis points. And so Swedish businesses are, they're doing well enough, especially for a bank. We've had our reportings. Banks are doing relatively well. Spotify actually came in relatively well. And then, of course, if you're a telecom or a utility, those have been doing well. And there doesn't seem to be a break on what's happening with the banks and the interest rates. So they'll keep making money. But what we really see here is that the market is trading on perception and on expectation. The market isn't really trading on fundamentals. So Thursday is going to be the big day for the market for the rest of the quarter, in my opinion. And that'll be how the market judges what it's going to do for the rest of the year. Ukraine continues to be a war, and we're getting closer and closer to a real conflict for Europe. Putin has said that the West, meaning Europe and the United States, sending over those tanks and armored troop carriers and missiles and so forth becomes direct engagement. And so there's a question on what happens next. We've seen the HIMARS in the Ukraine being used against regions like in the Donetsk, and they've hit hospitals. And then you've seen the Russian drones, and you've seen Russian missiles going into Ukraine as well. So war is awful and war is ugly, but we're not part of NATO yet in Sweden. That'll probably be resolved after May, and that's because of the Erdogan elections, or at least that's what some of our political party members think, or party leaders believe would happen, would be that in May we'll see a resolution on the NATO. And so really it's relatively quiet in Sweden in terms of the market, except for the earnings reportings. So any companies that the industries you're curious about, you can look up the industry and look at how they reported. But we are paying quite a bit more. I think in Europe we're paying 40% more due to energy prices. So there's no real surprises there. And what I would say is that's really it. And thank you very much. Hopefully you're liked and subscribed, and we'll see you soon. And thank you very much for your time, and have a great one. You can always make money in the market, whether you're long or short. It's all about the strategy you're going to employ. So speak to your advisor. Thank you.